Oops, this wasn't supposed to happen. A ship sent to the Antarctic to look for signs of global warming got stuck in frozen ice from fearsome cold. Then the rescue ship got stuck in the ice too. It's kind of like the climate change movement itself, stuck in denial over the fact that the climate is not getting warmer and seems to be getting much colder. The climate is changing, but it's not changing the way the climate change crowd told us it would change. Nature has made a mockery of global warming. So who are the real climate deniers? The ice is not only growing in the South Pole, but in the North Pole. And the coldest Arctic temperatures in decades have descended upon North America. But this inconvenient truth didn't stop Greenpeace from trying to scare children last month with a video of a sweaty, beleaguered Santa Claus threatening to call off Christmas because the North Pole is melting.
Dear children, regrettably, I bring bad tidings. Melting ice here. The North Pole has made our operations intolerable and impossible. And there may be no alternative but to cancel Christmas.
Cheer up, Santa. Arctic ice is growing, but that may not be the good news that it seems to be, because there are signs the Earth could be entering a very unpleasant cooling period. Sunspot activity remains very low.
The sun has been very unusual for almost 15 years now.
Senior scientist Jens Petersen at Denmark's Technical University says the sun recently reached solar maximum, and there should be a lot of sunspot activity. But there isn't.
There would normally have been maybe twice or three times as many sunspots as we have seen this year. We have to go back more than 100 years to find a similar solar maximum which has been so weak as the one we are in right now.
The last time the sun was this quiet, from the 1600s to the 1800s, North America and Europe suffered through a weather event known as Little Ice Age, when the Thames River in London regularly froze solid and colonial America saw terrible winters. Crops failed and people starved. Petersen says climate scientists know the Earth stopped warming 15 years ago. But the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, of which Petersen is a member, suppressed a recent finding by its own scientists that the UN's climate model has been proven wrong.
And then they change also part of what the scientists have written. And in particular, one of the issues has been why global warming has stopped during the last 15 years. And the scientists were very frank about that this is a problem, that climate models do not match with the climate we observe.
Politicians removed that important piece of good news from the final draft. It's as if the imminent danger from climate change can't be wrong, because it's now too important. It's become a political movement, a cash cow for climate scientists and environmental groups, and some say a way for world leaders to control economics and people.
This is absolutely a political agenda.
Dan Gaynor of the Media Research Center.
When you look at what the government will be able to do with climate change, it gives them entree into literally every aspect of our lives.
Yeah, I call it climatism.
Steve Gorham is the author of The Mad, Mad, Mad World of Climatism.
It has become a path for global change across the world, for adopting green economies and electric cars and putting wind turbines everywhere and changing light bulbs.
And it doesn't matter how badly the climate change prophets of doom get it wrong. Al Gore said all the ice in the Arctic would be melted by now. It's growing. Others predicted a shrinking food supply and flooded coastlines. Hurricane Sandy and Typhoon Haiyan are said to be because of climate change. But that ignores the fact that the worst tropical cyclones in modern times occurred in the 1960s. The climate change agenda is going forward anyway. The world is already spending at least $250 billion a year on it. Environmentalists want more. Activists are demanding what they call climate justice from developed nations.
What they really want to do is dump trillions into it. They want to get somewhere between 1% and 3% of global GDP. I mean, the amount's staggering amount of money.
Climate change skeptics have been censored and compared to Holocaust deniers and even child molesters. But forgotten in the effort to save the world from warming is the effect on the world's poor. Gorham says more than 1 billion people do not have access to electricity, and almost as many struggle with unreliable power. Cheap electricity from coal would be a savior for the world's poor, but the world's wealthy nations don't want them to have it. All in the name of saving the planet from a crisis that mounting evidence suggests is non-existent. Dale Hurd, CBN News, Copenhagen.